Well, hi, ladies, and happy Monday morning. I hope that your Monday has started off well. And this morning, I want to go ahead and we're going to jump into Psalm 63. So I'll get to the reason why I ended up jumping into this psalm, because it happened to be right next to another one that I am currently reading, but or in the process of memorizing. But I'm just going to read some of this, and perhaps really the question that I wanted to ask you this morning is, where are you desperate? What area of life are you desperate? Where are all of your prayers turning to? And as many of you know, we just walked through the Armor of God Bible study. And something we did at the beginning of this study was we had everyone who was participating write a letter to God about certain situations and, the things that they were going to be walking through and praying through over the next 7 weeks that we met. And a lot of ladies, there are quite a few that reached out to me that just said they couldn't believe then at the end of the Bible study from that ended up being 8-week period because we skipped July 4th, of how many things God had solved, moved, resolved, even to the point where my letter that I wrote, I was already way past all of those things, and there were other things on my mind now. So one of the things that we need to remember, and sometimes it's a longer period of desperation, a lot longer, we need to remember what God has done in the past, because that builds up our faith when we're in moments of desperation, frustration, moments of feeling like he still doesn't hear us. As many of you know, I walked through singleness for 10 plus years, and that was a long time of that, right? But there were seasons growing in it. So I am going to read Psalm 63, and we'll kind of do a bit of a breakdown with it. So this is when it says, when he was in the wilderness of Judah. It's believed that this was while he was being pursued by Saul. It could have been for the period that he spent after Absalom came after him. But we know that David is in the wilderness and he's earnestly seeking God. And so in Psalm 63, he says, "Oh God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you. As in a dry and weary land where there is no water. So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory." And I'm going to stop right there. So I love what he says, how he is earnestly seeking God. He is thirsting for him. His flesh is fainting for him. We see this picture of just complete desperation. And then he says, "So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory," remembering seeking God in the church, in the temple, seeking him and his presence. And why does he do this? He says, because this is where we get to the remembrance part. Okay, he remembers, though he's in a dry and weary land, he remembers beholding his power, God's power and glory in the church, in the sanctuary where he has sought his presence. "Because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands." Name it and declare it, right? I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands. Verse 5, "My soul will be satisfied as with fat and rich food, and my mouth will praise you with joyful lips, when I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night, for you have been my help." Remember when he's been your help. Remember what he's walked you through. I don't know what you're walking through right now. It could be the hardest thing you've ever walked through, but remember what he has walked you through, because he's faithful. Remember last week we talked about he's faithful. He's full of faith. He is faithful. Verse 7. Yeah, I read part of it, but verse 7, "For you have been my help, and in the shadow of your wings I will sing for joy. My soul clings to you. Your right hand upholds me." And then the psalm transitions slightly, and this is where we enter more of David's direct situation. He says, but those who seek to destroy my life shall go down into the depths of the earth. They shall be given over to the power of the sword. They shall be a portion for jackals. But the king shall rejoice in God. All who swear by him shall exult, for the mouths of liars will be stopped. And that shall exult is like partaking of glory, partaking of God's glory, because we are glorified in him. And so to me, this psalm just really hit me, especially after having done this Armor of God Bible study, just the desperation, but then the declaration. So remember, we have desperation in the issues where we are, but then there is declaration of who God is, remembering what he's done and moving forward, taking ground in victory, knowing that he is on the move. God is on the move. And so wherever you are right now, I want you to really hone in on Psalm 63, verse 8. So that's within this, but that I read it already, but it says, my soul clings to you. Your right hand upholds me. Declare that over whatever situation it is. Yes, you are maybe like David, you may be thirsting, you may be fainting, your physical body may be wearing away, you may be so emotionally distraught. You may be in a place where you never thought that this was going to happen to you or to a family member or to anyone that you know, but just take a moment and just remember God's glory and say and declare, tell yourself, that's what I'm getting to. I'm getting to the verse that I've been memorizing. Tell yourself, my soul clings to you. Your right hand upholds me. Declare it to your mind. Say it out loud. There's power in saying it out loud. And then I want you to maybe, along with me, meditate on this verse from Psalm 62. So remember, though you may be desperate, you can still declare God's glory. And then I want you to turn to Psalm 62, verse 5. And this is where God has been making me sit, and to sit in silence. That's a hard place. That does not mean that you cannot ask for prayers. It does not mean that you cannot talk with people about it, but it's not a constant woe is me. It is God's glory. I am going to sit in restful silence because God is still good. And so Psalm 62, verse 5, this is a declaration to your soul, reminding, kind of like what Psalm 63 says, my soul clings to you. All right, Psalm 62, verse 5 says, for God alone, O my soul, wait in silence, for my hope is from him. So it's all because of God. We are glorified in him. Our hope is from him. Our peace is from him. And we long for him because we want to be with him eternally. And we will be eternally, but we long for that eternity with him, even while we yet struggle here. So remember that. Psalm 62, verse 5, for God alone, O my soul, wait in silence, for my hope is from him. So he's your hope. It doesn't come from yourself. Thank goodness, right? Can I get an amen on that? But it comes from God, and we hope in him. And there's a whole book right here that can tell you why we can hope in him. From beginning to end, old to new, tells us exactly why we can hope in God. So I don't know if you're in an absolutely desperate place this morning, but declare God's goodness, remember what he's done, and hope in him. Sit in silence and just cling to him. So I hope that that's a bit of an encouraging message. It's kind of where I'm sitting today, and just remembering how big our God is, just how big, how great, and how mighty he is, and that our hope is from him. So I hope you have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you back here next week. Thanks.